to read. That's good.
Sail Rio.
Okay.
Okay, I think we should be showing up. Yes, we are live. Let me just mention to anyone who might watch this later that we are beginning The Merchant of Venice today. So, with that introduction, which is not really an introduction, take it away. And I'll do the narrator. So we're starting with Act 1, Scene 1. It's in Venice, a street. Enter Antonio, Salarino, and Salanio.
In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me, you say it wearies you, but how I caught it, found it, or came by it, what stuff it is made of, or whereof it is born, I am to learn. And such a want wit sadness makes of me that I have much ado to know myself.
Your mind is tossing on the ocean, there, where your argosies with portly sail, like seniors and rich burghers on the flood, or as it were, the pageants of the sea, do overpeer the petty traffickers that curtsy to them, do them reverence, and they fly by them with their woven wings.
Believe me, sir, had I such venture forth, the better part of my affections would be with my hopes abroad. I should be still plucking the grass to know where sits the wind, piring in maps for ports and piers and roads, and every object that might make me fear misfortune to my ventures, out of doubt, would make me sad.
My wind, cooling my broth, would blow me to an egg, when I thought what harm a wind too great at sea might do. I should not see the sandy hourglass run, but I should think of shallows and of flats, and see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand, veiling her high top lower than her ribs, to kiss her burial. Should I go to church and see the holy edifice of stone, and not bethink me straight of dangerous rocks, while touching but my gentle vessel's side, would scatter all her spices on the stream, enrobe the roaring waters with my silks, and in a word, but even now worth this, and now worth nothing? Shall I have the thought to think on this, and shall I lack the thought that such a thing be chanced would make me sad? But tell not me, I know Antonio is sad to think upon his merchandise.
Believe me, no. I thank my fortune for it. My ventures are not in one bottom trusted, nor to one place, nor is my whole estate upon the fortune of this present year. Therefore my merchandise makes me not sad.
Why, then you are in love.
Fie.
Not in love neither. Sorry.
Sorry.
Am I out of... Did
you know what? Okay, so no, this is really interesting, and I'll pick it up. But the two characters' names are so darn similar. I don't know why he did this. Anyway, maybe because there's not much to choose between the two. I mean, that would be my guess. Okay, not in love neither. Then let us say you are sad because you're not merry, and 'twere as easy for you to laugh and leap and say you are merry because you're not sad. Now by two-headed Janus, nature hath framed strange fellows in her time, some that will evermore peep through their eyes and laugh like parrots at a bagpiper, and other of such vinegar aspect that they'll not show their teeth in way of smile, though Nestor swear the jest be laughable. Okay, enter Bassanio, Lorenzo, and Gratiano.
Okay, so Jim, why don't you take Bassanio?
Okay, Duncan.
And I'll be Lorenzo, and
I could do Gratiano.
Okay.
Here comes Bassanio, your most noble kinsman, Gratiano and Lorenzo. Fare ye well. We leave you now with better company.
I would have stayed till I had made you merry, if worthier friends had not prevented me.
Your worth is very dear in my regard. I take it your own business calls on you, and you embrace the occasion to depart.
Good morrow, my good lord.
Good seniors both.
Go ahead,
Good
Jim.
seniors. Okay. Good seniors, both, when shall we laugh? Say, when? You grow exceedingly strange. Must it be so?
We'll make our leisures to attend on yours, Exeon Salarino and Solanio.
My lord Bassanio, since you have found Antonio, we too will leave you. But at dinner time, I pray you, have in mind where we must meet.
I will not fail you.
Look not well, Signor Antonio. You have too much respect upon the world. They lose it that do buy it with much care. Believe me, you're marvelously changed.
I hold the world but as the world, Gratiano, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine a sad one.
Let me play the fool. With mirth and laughter let old wrinkles come. And let my liver rather heat with wine than my heart cool with mortifying groans. Why should a man whose blood is warm within sit like his grandsire, cut in alabaster, sleep when he wakes, and creep into the jaundice by being peevish? I tell thee what, Antonio, I love thee, and 'tis my love that speaks. You're a sort of man whose visages do cream and mantle like a standing pond, and do a wilful stillness entertain, with purpose to be dressed in an opinion of wisdom, gravity, profound conceit, as who should say, I'm Sir Oracle, and when I open my lips, let no dog bark. Oh, my Antonio, I do know of these, that therefore only are reputed wise for saying nothing, when I'm very sure if they should speak, would almost damn those ears which, hearing them, would call their brothers fools. I'll tell thee more of this another time, but fish not with this melancholy bait, for this fool gudgeon, this opinion. Come, good Lorenzo, fare ye well a while. I'll end my exhortation after dinner.
Well, we will leave you then till dinner time. I must be one of those same dumb wise men, for Gratiano never lets me speak.
Well, keep company with me but 2 years more. Thou shalt not know the sound of thine own tongue.
Farewell, I'll grow a talker for this gear.
Thanks, Faith, for silence is only commendable in a neat's tongue dried and a maid not vendible.
Exeon, Gratiano, and Lorenzo. Is that anything now?
Gratiano speaks an infinite deal of nothing, more than any man in all Venice. His reasons are as 2 grains of wheat hid in 2 bushels of chaff. You shall seek all day ere you find them, and when you have them, they are not worth the search.
Well, oh, sorry. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. Well, tell me now, what lady is the same to whom you swore a secret pilgrimage that you today promised to tell me of?
It is not unknown to you, Antonio, how much I have disabled mine estate by something showing a more swelling port that my fate means would grant continuance. Nor do I now make moan to be abridged for such a noble rate, but at my chief care is to come fairly off from the great debts, wherein my time, sometimes too prodigal, have left me gagged to you, Antonio. I owe the most in money and in love, and for your love I have a warranty to unburden all my plots and purposes, how to get clear of all the debts I owe.
I pray you, good Bassanio, let me know it. And if it stand as you yourself still do within the eye of honor, be assured my purse, my person, my extremest means lie all unlocked to your occasions.
In my school days, when I had lost one shaft, I shot his fellow of the self-same flight, the self-same way with more advised watch to find the other 4th, and by adventuring both, I oft found both. I urge this childhood proof, because what follows is pure innocence. I owe you much, and, like a wilful youth, that which I owe is lost, but if you please to shoot another arrow that self-way, which you did shoot the first, I do not doubt, as I will watch the aim, or to find both, or Bring you latter hazard back again, and thankfully rest debtor for the first.
You know me well, and herein spend but time to wind about my love with circumstance, and out of doubt you do me now more wrong in making question of my uttermost, than if you had made a waste of all I have. Then do but say to me what I should do, that in your knowledge may by me be done, and I am pressed unto it. Therefore speak.
In Belmont is a lady richly left, and she is fair, and fairer than that word. Of wondrous virtues, sometimes from her eyes, I did receive fair speechless messages. Her name is Portia, nothing undervalued, to Cato's daughter, Brutus, Portia, nor is the wide world ignorant of her worth. For the four winds blow in from every coast, renowned suitors and her sunny locks hang on her temples like a golden fleece, which makes her seat of Belmont, Colchos strand, and many Jasons come in quest of her. O my Antonio, had I but the means to hold a rival place with one of them, I have a mind presage of me such thrift, that I should questionless be fortunate.
Thou knowest that all my fortunes are at sea, neither have I money nor commodity to raise a present sum. Therefore go forth, try what my credit can do in Venice do, that shall be racked even to the uttermost, to furnish thee to Belmont, to fair Portia. Go, presently inquire, and so will I, where money is, and I no question make to have it of my trust or for my sake.
Excellent. Okay, so that is the end of scene 1. Shall we discuss this?
Yes.
Hmm.
Can I start by going back to the dramatis personae and Dave's slight confusion about the names? There are a number of people mentioned, friends to Antonio and Bassanio. They're Salanio, Salarino, Graziano, and Salerio. So we have a Salarino and a Salerio. Just to confuse. Now, I don't think we've seen Salerio yet. We've seen Salarino and Salanio.
We didn't see Salerio?
Don't think so, did we?
I don't have him in my dramatis personae at all.
Oh, you mean, okay, so there's three friends that start with S.A.?
Yeah.
So
In fact, SAL.
yes. So we're Donna. What Donna and I are quibbling about is an N. That's what it boils down to. We're quarreling over either a missing N or a present N in one of the characters.
I'll have to say to you, Dave, that in my text, there's a handwritten amendment, and I think it's in Shakespeare's hand.
Okay, there you are. That's pretty gold standard, Donna.
So top that.
Yeah, right.
Can I just ask, do we know what the first scene is all about? I'm slightly confused.
Me too.
There seems to be a lot of talk about nothing. Would that
okay, so I haven't done this play in 30 plus years. So for what it's worth, you've got one of the main characters is Antonio, and he's suffering from a bit of melancholy at the start.
Okay.
And his two buddies figure it's because he's got ships out, trading ships, and he's worried about them because you invest a lot of money, and I think the returns were really, really good because the risks were very high. And I have a feeling that part of this is just a kind of a footnote. Part of this has to do with England's growing mercantile trade. That's being reflected here. That ships are going out and trading. Some come back and some don't. And then he said, no, it's not really that. He's got his bets placed on several tables. And then Bassanio comes to him and says, I've been a bit of a spendthrift and I owe you money, but I got a plan. And the plan seems to have to do with Portia,
Mhm.
the daughter, with Portia. And if who is a single woman being much courted, and if he can get her to, I guess, consent to marry him, Bassanio's problems financially will be solved, and he'll be able to pay Antonio back. But in the meantime, the problem is he needs money from Antonio to get to Belmont to see Portia. Antonio doesn't have any ready cash because, in spite of what he's just said earlier, he's got all his cash invested in this. So he's basically said to Bassanio, go to the money markets, use my name, see what you can raise. I'll see what I can raise so that you can go see Portia. Okay.
Yeah,
Again,
and-
going back to the dramatis personae, they say that Portia is a rich heiress,
Right.
with my emphasis on rich. So
Right.
she would be an important catch.
Mhm.
She would.
Mhm.
And I would think that is a bit offensive to our 21st century sensibilities, but I don't think it maybe would have grated people as much then.
Well, I
And
think,
there are two others. Sorry, Duncan, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, in addition to being rich, or the daughter of a rich man, she's reputed to be quite the beauty and to be quite intelligent. So
Right.
she's a triple catch.
Yes.
Now, there are
Okay.
two other suitors apart from Bassanio. There's the Prince of Morocco and the Prince of Aragon.
Mm-hmm.
So he has competition.
Mhm.
Oh,
It's stiff competition by the sound of it.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
And I
really,
was thinking there with their names. Geez, there's more O's than in Ireland.
I don't know how to follow that, Jim.
You don't have to.
Okay.
I was just throwing it in there. Just see what we go down a rabbit hole.
Let's keep that for Ulysses.
now this is a I guess in the formal sense, this will end up being a comedy. But I mean, there is definitely a dramatic part. But this first scene, perhaps I'm just too modern, but this first scene, it's kind of like, hey, Antonio, this is the guy that owes you a bunch of money. And this is a pretty flaky bet that he's making here,
Right.
where he wants you to go into debt for him. And yeah, you think that you've got more than one ship out in the ocean, and as long as one of them comes in, you'll be okay. But this is still a little flaky.
Right. So the guy's a bit of a money pit, is what you're saying.
He has
Who,
not proved
Antonio?
anything but, although he may be a hail, fine fellow, let's go have a drink and enjoy ourselves, friend.
He is making it very clear, though, that thou knowest that all my fortunes are at sea.
Yeah.
Neither have I money nor commodity to raise a present sum. So, in other words, go off and find it yourself. Use my name if you need to, but I won't be able to help you other than that.
Yeah, I can help you if you can find someone who'll give me credit.
Yeah.
So he's basically saying I got a cash flow problem, to put it in modern terms.
Right.
Yeah. Which is understandable in the business that he's in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if Shakespeare provides us with any signs of grit in Bassanio,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
because right now he seems pretty lightweight.
Yes. And I your point, Duncan, resonates with me as the descendant of thrifty Scottish shepherds myself. Like, why are you why are you loaning? Why are you advancing this guy even more money? Like, are you throwing good money after bad? So, yeah,
Well said, Scotsman.
yeah, right. Yes, exactly.
Well, you know what they say, you gotta spend money to make money, so who can blame the guy?
Yeah, maybe
That's the commercial view.
it is.
Maybe he's
Well,
just a nice guy and willing to lend his friends, help his friends out. We don't know yet, right?
Right.
Right, we
True.
don't know. We don't.
But-
That's why we have to keep
Right.
our eye out for signs of real character from Bassanio. And in spite of the fact that Antonio says, "Hey, I'm not depressed about my ships. I've got a number of bets going, and if one goes down, that's okay." So, in spite of this PR, if you will, that Antonio is giving out, that don't worry, boys, I got it covered. We have to find out if Antonio is really a prudent
Yeah.
character.
Something is making him upset. He's sad about something.
Yeah, we have to find out what he's sad about, and we have to keep an eye out to whether there's proof that he really is a good businessman,
Yeah.
or if it's,
Right. Right.
just another rich boy spending daddy's money.
Right.
Wow. This is great. This is a whole new experience. I
Yeah.
love it already.
Yeah, and I should
Yeah.
say, Dave, thank you for the summary. It was very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm,
okay.
absolutely,
Summary was
yeah,
extremely helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
great.
Yeah, but it just is so interesting how our life experience affects our interpretation of the play. Because Duncan, I have a feeling that you may have some hard scrabble Presbyterians in your family line too, and our spider sense is starting to tingle a little bit when Bassanio comes in looking for money.
Yeah. Hey, well, to give you a little background, in addition to the Scottish part, I also have the Russian Jewish part.
Okay,
Oh, my
fair enough.
goodness.
Right, right, and
That
who
explains
were,
a lot.
yes, who were part of the mercantile class, who did a lot of trading, buying and selling.
A lot of hard Scrabble.
Yep, you bet.
Because
you bet.
the winds of fortune blew across Ukraine often, and it was not uncommon for those in the merchant class or the professional class to go down
Yeah,
suddenly.
right.
Great for
Yeah, correct.
generations. And there's a pogrom, or there's
Yep.
You get caught in a weird business deal. So yeah, and I don't even know any of the details of all that. It's just something that's leaked through.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, we're ready to go, or we have
Okay,
more to talk
so
about?
next scene, you have two characters and somebody with one line. So Portia and Nerissa carry the narration, and right near the end is a serving man who has like one line. So yeah, I'm not sure.
This is a very short scene.
It is, but it's carried by really two characters. So if somebody wants to do Portia and somebody wants to do Nerissa, that'd be great. And then somebody can kind of pop in as a serving man.
Let's have Katrina do Portia.
Wonderful choice. Wonderful choice.
Thank you.
And then perhaps I'll take Nerissa. I think I had the shortest amount of words in scene one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I'll do Nerissa. And then Jim, how about if you do the one-liner? Jim, are you here? You got your microphone off, so I don't know if you said anything or not.
What character is doing the one-liner?
It's not Portia and it's not Nerissa. So whoever.
It's the serving
Whoever's
man,
left.
Jim.
The serving man.
Yeah,
Oh, serving man.
right. And I do want to point out that in the serving man, there's no disagreement between Donna and myself about that N. It's solid.
Now, what news?
Okay, so off we go.
So scene 2, Belmont, enter Portia with her waiting woman, Nerissa.
By my troth, Nerissa, my little body is aweary of this great world.
Ah, you would be sweet, madam, if your miseries were in the same abundance as your good fortunes are. And yet, for aught I see, they are as sick that surfeit with too much as they that starve with nothing. It is no mean happiness, therefore, to be seated in the mean. Superfluidity comes sooner by white hairs, but competency lives longer.
Good sentences and well pronounced.
They would be better if well followed.
If to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels had been churches and poor men's cottages, princes' palaces. It is a good divine that follows his own instructions. I can easier teach 20 what were good to be done than be one of the 20 to follow mine own teaching. The brain may devise laws for the blood, but a hot temper leaps o'er the cold decree. Such a hair is madness to youth, to skip o'er the meshes of good counsel, the cripple. But this reasoning is not in the fashion to choose me a husband. Oh me, the word choose. I may neither choose whom I would, nor refuse whom I dislike. So it is the will of a living daughter curbed by the will of a dead father. Is it not hard, Nerissa, that I cannot choose one, nor refuse none?
Your father was ever virtuous, and holy men at their death have good inspirations. Therefore, the lottery that he hath devised in these 3 chests of gold, silver, and lead, wherefore who chooses his meaning chooses you, will no doubt never be chosen by any rightly, but one who you shall rightly love. But what warmth is there in your affection towards any of these princely suitors that are already come?
I pray thee overname them, and as thou namest them, I will describe them, and according to my descriptions, level at my affection.
First, there is the Neapolitan prince.
Aye, that's the colt indeed, for he doth nothing but talk of his horse, and he makes it a great appropriation to his own good parts, that he can shoe himself. I'm much afraid my lady his mother played false with the smith. Okay.
Oh, then there is the county palatine.
He doth nothing but frown, as who should say, if you will not have me choose. He hears merry tales and smiles not. I fear he will prove the weeping philosopher when he grows old, being so full of unmannerly sadness in his youth. I had rather be married to Death's Head with a bone in his mouth than to either of these. God defend me from these 2.
How say you by the French lord, Monsieur Le Bon?
God made him, and therefore let him pass for a man. In truth, I know it is a sin to be a mocker, but why he hath a horse better than the Neapolitans, a better bad habit of frowning than the Count Palatine. He is every man in no man. If a throstle sing, he falls straight a capering. He will fence with his own shadow. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. If he would despise me, I would forgive him, for if he love me to madness, I shall never requite him.
What say you then to Falconbridge, the young baron of England?
You know, I say nothing to him, for he understands not me, nor I him. He hath neither Latin, French, nor Italian, and you will come into court and swear that I have a poor pennyworth in the English. He is a proper man's picture, but, alas, can converse with a dumb show. How oddly he is suited. I think he bought his doublet in Italy, his round hose in France, his bonnet in Germany, and his behavior everywhere.
What do you think of the Scottish lord, his neighbor?
that he hath a neighborly charity in him, for he borrowed a box of the ear from the Englishman and swore he would pay him again when he was able. I think the Frenchman became his surety and sealed under for another.
I like you, the young German, the Duke of Saxony's nephew.
Very vilely in the morning when he is sober, and most vilely in the afternoon when he is drunk. When he is best, he is a little worse than a man, and when he is worst, he is a little better than a beast. And the worst fall that ever fell, I hope I shall make shift to go without him.
If he should offer to choose and choose the right casket, you should refuse to perform your father's will, if you should refuse to accept it.
Therefore, for fear of the worst, I pray thee, set a deep glass of Rhenish wine on the contrary casket. For if the devil be within and temptation without, I know he will choose it. I will do anything, Nerissa, ere I'll be married to a sponge.
You need not fear, lady, having any of these lords. They have acquainted me with their determinations, which is indeed to return to their home and to trouble you with no more suit, unless you may be won by some other sort than your father's imposition, depending on the caskets.
If I live to be as old as Sibella, I will die as chaste as Diana, unless I be obtained in the manner of my father's will. I am glad this parcel of wooers are so reasonable, for there is not one among them but I dote on his very absence, and I pray God grant them a fair departure.
Do you not remember, lady, in your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar and a soldier, that came hither in the company of the Marquis of Montferrat?
Yes, yes, it was Bassanio, as I think he was so called.
True, madam. He, of all the men that ever my foolish eyes looked upon, was the best deserving a fair lady.
I remember him well, and I remember him worthy of thy praise.
Servant.
Here, now, what news? The four strangers seek for you, madam, to take their leave, and there is a forerunner come from a fifth, the Prince of Morocco, who brings word the prince, his master, will be here tonight.
If I could bid the fifth welcome with so good a heart as I can bid the other four farewell, I should be glad of his approach. If he have the condition of a saint and the complexion of a devil, I had rather he should shrive me than wive me. Come, Nerissa, sirrah, go before, whilst we shut the gates upon our one wooer, another knocks at the door.
Okay. That's a lively little scene.
That clarifies a lot of things. Because there are nearly more than 2 or 3 suitors, and she goes through them all one by one and writes them off. Then suddenly we hear Bassanio is in good stead with her.
Yeah.
But of course, he's got to meet Morocco and Aragon to see. We have to see where they stand. So we see now the first mention of the Prince of Morocco. So he's about to arrive. So I presume he's coming on suitor business.
What is the reference to the father's casket? I'm confused about that.
You have to turn on your
Where's
microphone, Mr. Little. You have to turn on your microphone.
There was some activity, sorry, there was some activity happening in the background there. It's very good that you're confused by it because you've taken the bait. As I remember the play, perhaps imperfectly, yeah, there's a little bit of mystery here. You're as a member of the audience, you're supposed to be wondering, okay, so what's this deal about the caskets?
Okay.
So it's supposed to keep you interested. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And you should also be wondering why these suitors all took off, because they showed up and then they left. And I would think the other thing that maybe should strike us here is Portia's wit when she's describing them. I mean, as somebody said in the previous discussion that we had, she's got a number of virtues, and one of them is she's quite bright. She's quite intelligent. And so for instance, and she says, and we're all laughing. She says, "A colt indeed. I am much afeared that my lady, his mother, played false with a blacksmith." Right?
Yes,
You know. So she's got like definitely a sharp tongue, but definitely a good brain too.
yeah, and also it's interesting because presents us another view of Bassanio.
True. Yes.
Yeah,
Good point.
yeah.
Portia was impressed with Bassanio.
Right.
So Bassanio's got I think Bassanio's got a good appearance, they say. He can put on a good show.
Good deal. That's true. And you know, the thing is, as Shakespeare sets this scene up, it's not like Portia is throwing herself at the first guy that comes along. Like she's definitely quite discriminating, because the guys who's showing up she doesn't like. Even, I'm sorry to say, the Scot.
Yes.
You know?
The question that strikes me
also-
is how does she know of Bassanio? They live in different places, clearly. I don't
They do.
know how close Belmont is.
So yes.
Um,
So
good
yes,
question.
there's a lot of detail to keep track of. Narissa said, "Do you remember, lady, in your father's time, a Venetian, a scholar and a soldier, that came hither in the company of the Marquis of Montferrat?"
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So he came to visit and
Right.
produced at the court. Bassanio
And
was.
now to bring it back to ears again, line 75, he says that he's talking about a Scotsman here, that he hath a neighbourly charity, for he borrowed a box of the ear of the Englishman and swore he would pay him again, were he able. So is he talking about a scrap that took place between them?
I assume so.
Okay.
The German. Let's see, Malcolm. What do you think of a Scottish lord, his neighbor? That he has a neighborly charity to him, for he borrowed a box of the ear of the English and swore he would pay him again when he was able.
So who got the box on the ear? Was it the Scot or the English guy?
Well, it's a box of the ear.
Right.
So I think we need to be a little careful of what that actually means. What do you think of the Scottish lord as neighbor? That he hath a neighborly charity in him, for he borrowed a box of the ear of the Englishman and swore he would pay him again when he was able. I don't know what that means, actually.
Oh, here, I just seen a note here in my book. It's a neighbourly charity. Well, the note says it means a strong dislike. Portia is making an ironic reference to ill feeling between England and Scotland. And
Okay.
then it is sealed under for another, guaranteed to give the Englishman a box in return. So it looks like the Scotsman is one that was struck.
Okay.
So we have an Englishman, we have a Neapolitan. So there's your Italian, the Neapolitan. And what is the County Palatine?
Is that part of Germany?
Or is it Rome?
Oh, well, the
The
Palatine Hills in
The
Rome.
Palatine Hills in Rome.
Right. Right.
Okay, so another Italian, because of course there
Right.
was no, there may not have been Italy at the time. There were only these.
Yeah, the German I think it's
They were sort of feudal states at this time, weren't they? They all had their own kings.
It was a collection of city-states, I think.
City states, yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
Okay, but the same is true in Germany, but they refer to the German as Saxon. Saxon.
Or there,
Okay,
there
so
was there was a state in Germany called Saxony.
Yeah, right. So, yes, I don't know about that Palatine. Like, I thought it was a place in Germany, but I know there's the Palatine Hills. If somebody, I'm on a computer, I can't Google. I'm on this iPad because I'm away, so I can't look it up. But I do confess that my grasp of geographical matters has been challenged in the past by this group on more than one occasion.
Well, everything we're talking about seems to be in Italy, as we know it now.
That's right. Right. Misattributing senators to New York when they come from New Jersey, calling a certain city in Northern Ireland by its extended version. Yes, I have no geographical credibility whatsoever with this group.
I think we need a set of school notes to go with this, don't we?
We do. Yeah.
But we have confidence in you.
Wait,
Absolutely.
hold on. I got my phone. I'll look it up on the phone. Keep talking. I'll find out where the Palatine is.
What I want to talk about is it seems like this is a systematic, it's Shakespeare making fun of every country in England and Europe.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I note that the Irish are spared here. So presumably,
the Irish are
if an
absent.
Irish guy showed up, the play would be over because she would accept him right away.
I believe that you must have a little bit of Celt in you to take that point of view. I think the only reason he didn't include Ireland was because Ireland was not considered a country.
It was just probably an island off the mainland.
Okay, so we've got a Palatine in Illinois, USA, so we can probably rule that out. And then, yeah, the other one down is Palatine Hill. So that must be it. He must be from Rome.
That's
It
around.
still doesn't clarify what it means, though. Sure, it doesn't.
Okay.
There is the County Palatine.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be a reference to Rome as, the city of the Palatine Hills?
Well, now she also refers to when she's describing Monsieur Le Bon, Portia is describing Monsieur Le Bon as he has a better bad habit of frowning than the Count Palatine.
Count Palatine, yes.
Right. And actually, I'm just looking at my notes here, and it says county is a form of count. Capital C county, capital C count. So maybe that, yeah.
But then he's another suitor, isn't that right?
Ah,
And do we presume that Monsieur Le Bon is also a suitor? A French suitor?
Yes, because Nerissa says, how say you by the French lord Monsieur Le Bon? Portia, God made him and therefore let him pass for a man. In truth.
Clearly, he's quite effeminate. He must be quite effeminate if she's saying that about him. Let him pass for a man.
Maybe he's transgender.
I just want...
He is every man and no man. If a froth sing, he falls straight a capering. He will fence with his own shadow. If I should marry him, I should marry 20 husbands. If he would despise me, I would forgive him. For if he love me to madness, I shall never requite him. Yeah, he does seem a little flighty. But let's look at underneath here a little bit. So basically, Portia is saying, my father really has put me in a lousy situation. And I'm going to try to get out of this.
Has he dictated who she should marry?
Yeah, by some sort of contest, I think.
Okay.
I mean, really, the three caskets. It seems to me, there's a casket full of gold, there's a casket full of silver, and there's a casket full of lead. And it's almost like the Lady and the Tiger story, where the guys have to choose.
Mm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm maybe just making this up. And the one who happens to pick the gold casket is the one who wins Portia.
In this play?
Yeah.
No, it's I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but I would say stay
Step,
tuned. Stay
step
tuned.
all over. Okay. Oh, okay. You're not
Yeah.
going to. You're just going to warn me not to jump
No,
to
because
conclusions.
I've tried to whip up an air of mystery for Katrina, and I don't want to compromise that in any way.
Okay.
Without compromising it, can I just throw in and say it strikes me that they are dowry boxes?
Can you say that that they are what?
I said without
The dowry.
causing any spoilers, I just wonder, are the caskets dowry boxes?
Ah, okay.
But as I say, I just throw it in.
Okay. Well, Nerissa says your father was very virtuous, then holy men at their death have good inspirations. Therefore, the lottery which he has devised in these three chests of gold, silver, and lead. Wherefore, who chooses his meaning chooses you. Will no doubt never be chosen by any rightly, but the one who shall rightly love.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. What does that
So
mean?
he's making a contest of it.
Hmm.
Sorry, Katrina.
No, I'm,
please notice that Mr. Little is tight-lipped on this one.
yeah,
You know what? I'm looking over the speech actually, and I'm glad that you read that because it's kind of a vote of confidence in the father, because this looks like we're going to see it looks pretty bizarre, and yet someone who knows the father is going, you know what, this is a good one, because whoever chooses rightly is the one that you should actually love. It's set up so that you're going to get the right person.
Okay. So he's actually not as deserving of Portia's criticism as Portia thinks he is.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, the mystery is on.
yeah.
Ta-da. Shall we proceed on to the next scene?
Sure.
Okay. The characters are okay. We've got Bassanio and Shylock. I'm just looking this over. Antonio.
That's it, pretty much.
I think that's it. I think that's pretty much it. And this may pretty much take us to the end of our time as well. Yeah. So Antonio, Bassanio, and Shylock. And I didn't do any reading last time, so I'll take any one of the three roles that you folks would like me to take.
Okay.
Take Shylock.
Okay, I will.
And actually, Jim did not get
Yeah.
much of a last time. Let's put him in as Bassanio.
Okay.
And who does that leave?
I don't know. I can't remember who read who were the two parts. Who did
Antonio enters. So
can someone take Antonio then?
Yeah, Donnie, you want to take Antonio?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so can I just ask before we start, because this becomes an issue reading this play post-Holocaust, really. Do your stage instructions, so I've got scene 3 Venice, I've got enter Bassanio with Shylock the Jew.
Hmm.
Do you
Mhm.
have
Hmm.
him identified by religion in your editions?
No.
Yes,
Not of mine,
yes.
no.
You do?
No, it just
Not
enter
in this-
beside
Not
Shylock.
in this one, not in the Dover Thrift Edition.
Okay.
In the
Because
drama for schools, yes, he's Shylock the Jew.
yeah.
Huh.
How about you, Donna?
No, not in mine. But
Okay.
my text is based on a very old text.
All right.
It's
Oh,
it's a reproduction of a 1906 text,
Okay.
Oh,
going back a bit.
yeah.
Right. And anyway, we'll have to kind of sort this through as the play goes on. But it's a central
we'll
problem.
have to sort it through it. I
For
will
reading.
read Bloom. I believe Harold Bloom has something to say about this matter.
Sure. Okay. Do you
Yeah.
want to do that now, or do you want us to start reading?
No, I need to review it.
Okay.
But I mean,
Fair enough.
it's
Okay.
basically saying that our thing of, the oily Jew cheater is
Oh, yeah.
is actually not in the play.
Okay.
That Shakespeare is somehow making a criticism against that sort of discrimination. But I don't remember. I have to read it,
Okay.
and I may be making it up. So,
Okay. Right.
all right.
Okay.
So
3,000 ducats. Well,
Aye, sir, for 3 months.
for 3 months. Well,
For the which, as I told you, Antonio shall be bound.
Antonio shall become bound. Well,
May you stead me? Will you pleasure me? Shall I know your answer?
3,000 ducats for 3 months and Antonio bound.
Your answer to that.
Antonio is a good man.
Have you heard any imputations to the contrary?
Oh, no, no, no. My meaning in saying he is a good man is to have you understand me that he is sufficient. Yet his means are in supposition. He hath an argosy bound to Tripolis, another to the Indies. I understand, moreover, upon the Rialto, he hath a third at Mexico, a fourth in England, and other ventures he hath squandered abroad. But ships are but boards, sailors but men. There be land rats and water thieves and land thieves, pirates. And there's the peril of waters, winds, and rocks. The man is notwithstanding sufficient. 3,000 ducats. I think I may take as bond.
Be assured you may.
I will be assured I may, and that I may be assured I will bethink me. May I speak with Antonio?
If it please you to dine with me,
Yes, to smell pork, to eat of the habitation which your prophet the Nazarite conjured the devil unto. I will buy with you, sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, and so following, but I will not eat with you, drink with you, nor pray with you. What news on the Rialto? Who is he comes here?
Enter Antonio.
this is Senor Antonio.
How like a fawning publican he looks. Hate him, for he's a Christian. But more, for that in low simplicity, he lends out money gratis and brings down the rate of usance here with us in Venice. If I can catch him upon the hip, I will feed fat the ancient grudge I bear him. He hates our sacred nation, and he rails, even there where merchants do most congregate, on me, my bargains, and my well-won thrift, which he calls interest. Cursed be my tribe if I forgive him.
Shylock, do you hear?
I'm debating of my present store, and by the near guess of my memory, I cannot instantly raise up the gross of full 3,000 ducats. What of that? Tubal, a wealthy Hebrew of my tribe, will furnish me. But soft, how many months do you desire? And he now talks to Antonio. Rest you fair, good signor. Your worship was the last man in our mouths.
Shylock, although I never lend nor borrow, by taking nor by giving of excess, Yet, to supply the right wants of my friend, I'll break a custom. Is he yet possessed? How much ye would?
Aye, 3,000 ducats.
And for 3 months?
I had forgot 3 months. You told me so. Well, then your bond, let me see. But hear you, me thoughts you, but hear you, me thoughts you said. You neither lend nor borrow upon advantage.
I do never use it.
When Jacob grazed his uncle Laban's sheep, this Jacob from our holy Abram was, as his wise mother wrought in his behalf. The third possessor, aye, he was the third.
And what of him? Did he take interest?
No, not take interest, not as you would say, directly interest. Mark what Jacob did. When Laban and himself were compromised that all the eanlings which were streaked and pied should fall as Jacob's hire, the ewes being rank in the end of autumn turned to the rams, and when the work of generation was between these holy breeders in the act, the skillful shepherd pilled me certain ones, and in the doing of the deed of kind, he struck them up before the fulsome ewes, who then conceiving did in eanling time fall party-colored lambs, and those were Jacob's. This was a way to thrive, and he was blessed, and thrift is blessing if men steal it not.
This was a venture, sir, that Jacob served for, came not in his power to bring to pass, but swayed and fashioned by the hand of heaven. Was this inserted to make interest good? Or is your gold and silver ewes and rams?
I cannot tell. I make it breed as fast. But note me, Signor.
Mark you this, Bassanio. The devil can cite scripture for his purpose. An evil soul, producing holy witness, is like a villain, with a smiling cheek, a goodly apple rotten at the heart. Oh, what a goodly outside falsehood had.
3,000 ducats, 'tis a good round sum. 3 months from 12, then let me see the rate.
Well, Shylock, shall we be holding to you?
Signor Antonio, many a time and oft in the Rialto you've rated me about my monies and my usances. Still I've borne it with patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. You call me misbeliever, cutthroat dog, and spit upon my Jewish gabardine. And for all use of that which is mine own, well then, it now appears you need my help. Go then, you come to me and you say, Shylock, we would have monies. You say so. You that did void your room upon my beard and foot me as you spurn a stranger cur over your threshold, monies is your suit. What should I say to you? Should I not say, hath a dog money? Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low and in a bondman's key with bated breath and whispering humbleness say, fair sir, you spat on me Wednesday last. You spurned me such a day, and another time you called me dog, and for these courtesies I'll lend you this much monies?
I am as like to call thee so again, to spit on thee again, to spurn thee too. If thou wilt lend this money, lend it not as to thy friends. But when did friendship take a breed for barren metal of his friend? But lend it rather to thine enemy, who, if he break, thou mayest with better face exact the penalty.
Why, look how you storm. I would be friends with you and have your love. Forget the shames you've stained me with. Supply your present wants and take no draught of usance for my monies, and you'll not hear me. This is kind I offer.
You need Bassanio.
Antonio.
No, it's Bassanio, I think.
This were kindness?
Yep. This kindness will I show. Go with me to a notary, seal me there your single bond, and in a merry sport, if you not repay me on such a day in such a place, such sum or sums are expressed in the condition, let the forfeit be nominated for an equal pound of your fair flesh to be cut off and taken in what part of your body pleaseth me.
Content and faith, I'll seal to such a bond, and say there is much kindness in the Jew.
You shall not seal to such a bond for me. I'd rather dwell in my necessity.
Why, fear not, man, I will not forfeit it. Within these 2 months, that's a month before this bond expires, I do expect return of thrice, 3 times the value of this bond.
Oh, Father Abram, what these Christians are, whose own hard dealing teaches them suspect the thoughts of others. Pray you tell me this. If he should break his day, what should I gain by the exaction of such a forfeiture? A pound of a man's flesh taken from a man is not so estimable, profitable neither as flesh of muttons, goats, or sheep, as muttons, beefs, or goats. I say to buy his favor, I extend this friendship, if he will take it so. If not, adieu. And for my love, I pray you wrong me not.
Yes, Shylock, I will seal unto this bond.
Then meet me forthwith at the notary's, give him direction for this merry bond, and I will go and purse the ducat straight. See to my house left in the fearful guard of an unthrifty knave, and presently I'll be with you.
Hie thee, gentle Jew, the Hebrew will turn Christian, he grows kind.
I like not fair terms and a villain's mind.
Come on, in this there can be no dismay. My ships come home a month before the day.
I have to leave for a minute. I'll be right.
Wow.
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 This is beginning to boil up.
There's a
Oh,
lot of
Shylock,
going there.
Shylock is getting a real hard time there from Antonio.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both, this is,
Giving a hard time.
If this was written in modern times, this play would be maybe banned for anti-Semitism.
True.
there's a lot going on in this scene. It's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack. I think I don't know what time it is, but I think we're going to have to spend. Oh, it's 2:16, so we got 15 minutes for now. But we'll probably want to think about this and come back
Yeah, I
to
agree.
a bit more. I have some parsing to do. There's
It's
a lot
clear
of
that there's, sorry, Duncan, it's clear that there is a lot of history already between Shylock and Antonio. They're not meeting for the first time, so they have been dealing with each other for some time, presumably.
Mhm.
And they don't like each other.
Yeah, they don't like each other, and also Antonio has been lending money to people with no interest. This is really a focus on the whole topic of usury.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And because Shylock has been lending money to people for interest, that Antonio has treated him very badly,
Very badly.
including spitting on him.
Yes.
I think
And kicking him.
Yeah, because as a money lender, it's a valid profession.
Mhm.
It
And
may not be liked, like the taxman is not liked, but he's entitled to do his business this way.
in
Mhm.
fact, and Don, I think it's more than that. I wish I were more knowledgeable of this, but I believe that they were money lenders because they were forbidden so many other occupations.
Okay.
That's right, Dave. Yeah,
they
that's
were
right.
in most countries, Jews were not allowed to own land,
Right.
and they were very restricted in what kind of businesses that they could have. So to use an analogy which is not probably totally accurate, in Japan, there is a group of people called the I can't remember the term, but they are restricted to working in leather and being butchers.
No.
and they were despised. Japan was basically a Shinto and particularly a Buddhist country, and Buddhists were not allowed to slaughter animals, and were not allowed to work with corpses. So the particular people,
Hmm.
I want to say it's not Bunraku, it's Bukurin or something like that. Bukunin. Anyway, these people are the ones that are forced into butchering and leather work. And they were despised for hundreds of years, kind of like the untouchables in
Yes.
India.
What is the actual, I'm looking it up, untouchables. They don't like to be called that. Is it Dalit? Dalit?
Dalit.
It's Dalit. Okay, yes. That's exactly who I was thinking about in India. Yeah. People who they clean toilets, they handle animal carcasses and so forth, and they're despised for it, but they're not allowed to do anything else.
Right, they're forced into they're forced into these occupations.
Yeah.
And that was the condition of the Jews of many countries in Europe.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
and so this is actually going rather deep into this. You're using this one thing between Antonio and Shylock.
Yeah. And Shylock is no fool. Like, I'm just looking this over now. Shylock has a very good sense of what people's worth is because he knows exactly where Antonio's ships are.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I found really interesting is that Bassanio is not happy with this deal and is willing to forego his whole plan of borrowing the money to go to woo Portia, rather than put his friend Antonio in this awkward situation should something happen. Did you notice that?
Yeah. But he doesn't he eventually he takes the money. I guess that's not in this scene. I don't, yeah. Yeah. But he does take the money. He does protest at the beginning, but he takes it.
Well, yeah, Antonio insists upon the deal.
Yeah.
Antonio is pushing the deal. Now it's become a point of honor to put this Jew in his place by taking the deal and then paying it off. Let's see if I can find what you. Oh, and also, if you don't know, I doubt if all of us know the story of Jacob and Laban.
So
No.
didn't he peel some? I'm reaching hard on this one, but so Jacob was a bit of a shyster. In fact, one scholar said he's one of the few cheaters in the Bible who prospered, and he did. But I think he ran into an equally dishonest guy in Laban, I think it was his father-in-law. And didn't he peel some branches, some sticks, and show them to the animals when they were breeding so that they would come out a certain way and he'd get them? Like, wasn't that the story?
He knew a trick. Well, Laban said, if you marry my daughter, I forget which daughter it was, if you marry my daughter and work for me, if you work for me for 6 years, and I'll let you marry my daughter and I'll pay. And so Jacob did work, and he worked hard for Laban. But then Laban tried to trick him out
Yep.
of the sheep. and he still forced him to marry his daughter. And then Jacob came up with this plan. He says, "Okay, fine, you win. Just let me have the sheep that have got such and such a characteristic." Okay. However, I will come back. That's the important part that we need to know, is that when Laban tried to cheat Jacob, Jacob turned the tables on him.
Right.
Okay. But I will tell you, if you have not read the Old Testament, it is an astounding document, and the amount of cheating and double crossing that
Right.
goes on is like, I have this young man in my life who is a big Bible freak, but he's kind of ADD, and he has trouble concentrating on stuff. So finally, I told him one day, I said, "Aaron, let's read the Bible. You're interested in the Bible. I'm kind of interested in the Bible. Let's read the Bible." So that provided the occasion for me to sit down and start reading the Bible. And I'm really glad it happened. It's really astounding to actually read what is in the Old Testament. It's like so many times I've just been like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Well, the Jacob story is quite illustrative since we're talking about it. So he cheats his older brother Esau out of his, Katrina, you know this better than I do, I'm sure, but he cheats his older brother Esau out of the birthright, first of all, and then out of his father's blessing.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Laban and he runs into a guy as crooked as he is, because he's working for so many years thinking he's getting Rachel as his wife after this. But Laban says at the end of it, "Oh, sorry, we got a custom. The older sister goes first." So then he gets Leah, and he's got to work a number of years again to get Rachel. So, I mean, man, there's a lot of skullduggery here.
Huh.
Yeah. And remember that it was Jacob's mother who put Jacob up to this. Mother
Rebecca?
Rebecca? I think it was. I still don't have real good control of the name, so I'll just say
I'll get it. I'll find it. I think it was. Carry on. Please carry on.
It was when Esau was sent out to go hunting. Esau was a hunter, as opposed to Jacob, who was a herder. Then the mother came to Jacob and said, "Hey, Jacob, here's what we got to do. I'm going to put an animal skin on you, and you're going to go in and get your father's blessing to inherit everything. And when the father touches you, he's going to be touching this animal skin with hair on it, because Esau is hairy."
That's right. The hairy one.
It is quite an incredible story of trickery and deceit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Rebecca. I just looked it up. So, yes.
Yeah. So there's lots of that. So, and then next time when we come back, we can see what Shylock is saying. Yeah, we need to do a nice parsing of this whole Shylock telling the Jacob story.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah.
It's really important, and I think what we're going to discover is that yes, there is a lot of strong language against the Jews, particularly Shylock in this section, but Shakespeare's tempering it. He's providing Shylock with a reason to be upset.
Okay.
It's not some old Jew taking advantage of these innocent,
Right.
moral Christians at all. So that's interesting.
Is that our exit cue?
You can bring up another topic.
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's fine. Columbo is putting aside his trench coat for the day. I'm good with it.
Write the note of whatever it was you wanted to bring up. So
No,
because we'll
this is good.
here.
This is good. Next
Yeah.
time.
And I think it would probably be good the next time, and remind me the next time that we start with the scene with Bassanio and Shylock and Antonio.
Okay,
And
sure.
we read it in pieces and kind of
Okay,
Yeah,
work our way through it. We go on to the next thing.
sure.
Scene
Great.
3.
You bet.
wow.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Thanks.
it's been
You
thank
Great.
you all.
got it.
Yeah.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
See you next
Good
week.
night, everybody.
Next time.
Next time.
See if I can. There we go. There's that. Okay.